Hello friends of music. Today we will be talking about lines, spaces, and treble clefs. Oh my! So, since we're learning about lines, spaces, and treble clefs, it is very important to learn these things before we start playing any of the bigger instruments like recorder or trumpet, saxophone, flute, anything like that. So this is a really important lesson. Hope you're going to pay attention. First off, I have my pen, I have my paper. If you want to follow along, grab yourself a pen and pencil. We're going to talk about the 5 spaces of the treble clef. There are 5 spaces. You even have them on your hand. See? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, and 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. Hand staff. So when we draw our 5 lines and 4 spaces, we make sure that they're sort of close together, but a little bit far apart as well. We don't want our notes to get too squishy. Just like I'm doing there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's check out our lines and spaces. Again, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, and 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. 4 spaces. Check your lines and spaces to be sure that they're not too close together, not too far apart. They're looking a little bit like mine on the screen. If you need to redo it, that's fine. Good. We're going to talk about the names now on the treble clef staff, the treble staff. Remember I said there were 5 lines and 4 spaces. Well, each of these lines has their own note name. So if we start here at the bottom, we have an E. This bottom line is E. Second line, G. Third line, B. Fourth line, D. And this one up at the top, and F. So you have E, G, B, D, F. These are the lines on the treble clef. Very good. Now, we have those as lines. Now we have some spaces. Down here at the bottom, we have F, A, C, and finally, E. Now, it is very important, super important, that you notice that we have 2 Fs and 2 Es, but they go in different places on the staff. We have our first E right down here. We have our second E right there. We have our first F up here. We have our second F down there. So if you notice, E and F, E and F. They're almost the same spot on the staff, except they flip-flop a little bit. In this case, the E is lower and the F is higher. Well, they're still low. The E is lower here and the F is higher. They just switch their spot on the staff. One is a line, one is a space. Very important to remember. So again, for the lines, we have E, G, B, D, F. Here, for the spaces, F, A, C, E. You probably have noticed that the spaces spell face. Means you've got a face in your space. If we look at the lines on the treble clef, you can remember something to help you out with those as well. I have to turn my paper around so I can write. We have every good boy does fine. Spelling it out. E, G, B, D, F. E, G, B, D, F. Every good boy does fine. Now, a few years ago, my students in a different building created this one. Even George Bush digs fries. That was the one that they came up with. Now you can create any mnemonic device that you want. That's what these are called, to figure out the lines and spaces on the treble clef. and they'll help you out in any ways. It always has to be in this order, though. E, G, B, D, F. E, G, B, D, F. Now that we've covered the lines and spaces, let's draw a treble clef. Treble clef you'll always see in our music. Sometimes there's a bass clef, but we don't really get into that. So we have the treble clef. In order to draw a treble clef, you start at the top of your staff and you draw a straight line. Straight line all the way down. Now, it was important that we learn the note names of the lines because they will come into play right here. From the top of your treble clef, you want to draw the letter D down to the D line. Ooh, see how that works? There's a D right there and there's a D right there. Pretty cool, huh? Now, to draw the rest of the treble clef, you take and you swirl around until you draw the letter G over the G line. So we have a D to D, G to G. Let's do that again. Draw with me. Straight line down, a D to the D line, and a G over the G. Now sometimes people can get really fancy and they'll put a little pigtail on there, but that's not necessary. Let's do one more. Straight line, D to D, and G to G. And there's your treble clef. Let's review. We have 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 lines. 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. From the bottom to the top, your line names go E, G, B, D, F. Every good boy does fine. Even George Bush digs fries. Make up your own. In the spaces, we have F, A, C, E. You've got a face and your space. To draw a treble clef, straight down, D to D, G to G. Have fun practicing music. Bye.